Well, hello again, everyone. Thanks for dropping by once again, and welcome back. You are to the modelling table, and it's not a bench, really. I don't suppose it's a table fashioned from a thing that is a table and a shelf, designed actually more for the purposes of being a place, a repository for ornaments and such like. But that's a whole nother story, and before I lose myself in that one, I shall carry straight on. But we're back to the Gloster Gladiator, and progress has been made, as you can see. I've got quite a long way through, and you'll see that some things have happened and others have not. And I'll just take you through that. The engine's not gone on yet, but it will at some stage. But what I'm going to do is probably paint this whole model first. And I've not put the top wing section on yet, because there are some things that we can be doing on these cabane struts here and also on these interplane struts here, because there are there are wires that go in between the interplane struts and cabane struts, that there are lifting wires and landing wires, or flying wires and landing wires, and they both act in opposite directions to each other. So I want to put them in, and I'm going to employ stretch sprue for that, and I'm going to have a little go at that today. We'll see how that goes. And if you're seeing this, I've judged that it's been successful enough that I can show it to you, and it might have been slightly unsuccessful, but right now I don't know how it's going to go. But suffice to say that there's a couple of things I need to add in here, so let's get the old poker out and show you what's going on. So these little side panels here, these are drop down doors, and the Gladiator had them on both sides. The model instructions recommend or set out that you put these doors closed, but this starboard side one I'm going to put closed, and because it doesn't fit quite well, you're going to have to put it in quite carefully, and then probably glue it at the bottom, and then seal it with some Mr. Surfacer or something like that, this kind of stuff that I've got on here, so that you get a little seam line that you can address later on. So it looks like there's a door there, and this one I'm going to be putting open, and it opens over and down like that, and all you need to do is basically just rub the paint off here and just use a little piece of plastic card on the underside of the door, and then it will look like it's been opened, so you'll be able to see in here. And then that being done, that's the right way around. This will go back to that level there, so that the canopy is open. So we'll do it that way round. It's the simplest way. But and I'm just going to kill off all these seams here underneath. But it's gone together really remarkably well. These wing sections went in really easily, and there's no seam to speak of there. One does have to be a bit careful with these guns here, because as you can see they can bend quite easily, and you may be wondering how it was I managed to get these in and glued as they are. The technique for doing that is really quite simple, in the sense that all you do is just glue them in with extra thick, because that takes some time to dry, put the wings on top. And I did this with the two interplane struts. So these are the interplane struts, and there are 4 of them. Then there are cabane struts. These are the V-shaped ones here, and there's 4 of them too. So the interplane struts go on first, and then you drop in as you can see, the little receptacles for these. Drop those receptacles in there and on there, on both sides. Let that glue down there dry, preferably overnight. Once you've done that, you can then locate these in. What I did with this was essentially to locate these and then tape the wings, the top wing, to the struts, to these interplane struts, and then introduce these cabane struts in such that they fit into, I'll just zero in and show you that, they fit into these little spots there, so you can see those. Once you've got them in, and you've got everything in there, you have to be quite careful. It's a bit tricksy to do this, to be honest with you. Once you've got them in, let's see if we can show you this. Maybe I'm going to zero out a little bit just so that you can see this. It's a bit tricksy to do this, but once you've got those in, then what you can do is then glue the bottom half like that, and everything then just essentially slots in. So when it comes to actually doing the final fitting after you've got everything else up together, then what I'm going to do is essentially glue in the outer ones. That's what I plan to glue the outer ones in first with extra thick, and then get these located whilst it's still wet. Take the two wing sections together, get those located, glue them in with some probably quick drying, and then leave it to dry, and hopefully you know, bingo will be the game, as it were. So that's the plan. We'll see how that works. Maybe it will, maybe it won't, and I shall shall we say, guiltily confess to you what happens anyway, and we'll take it forward from there. So in terms of the what one needs to do with the rigging wires, and I'm going to put some rigging wires in today. They go in cross section here, and they go in cross section here and here, and then there, and then you have wires that run down and up, so there's a cross section between this section here. Now this section here between the upper and the lower wings, we'll have to imagine the upper wing in here, this is called a bay, so this is called a single bay biplane. So the landing tensioners and the flying tensioners will go both ways. So the flying tensioners come from up here down there, and the landing tensioners go from down here to up there, and they keep the wings and everything in good order. So we're going to have a go at putting the strands in here. Now this may or may not work, as I said, and obviously in here as well, but we're going to have a go at it. So what my proposal is, and I've had a little think about this, is I'm going to use 0.3mm drill bits. Now these are from this company called Anyz, or ANYZ, Anise maybe, somebody call it Anise I think. So I'm going to drill in some little anchor holes in here, not very big, and then up and down, so that I've got something to seat the wire that I'm going to use against. And what we're going to use is this stuff. It's just stretch sprue. So I'm going to find some sections that are the same diameter. I'm going to be quite careful with all of this, because I want to use all of this, and I don't want to have to go and make more sprue. I suppose a word or two on that. I tried using the sprue from the ICM kit, but it just kept pulling apart. It got to a bent position under the candle, or over the candle, and then I gently draw these things apart, and it drew apart, went very, very thin, then broke. This is Italieri sprue, which I pulled off a Chinook model that I've not finished yet, but I pulled the sprue away from it, and that turned into stretch sprue really very easily. I think that's quite thick. That's a bit too thick for what we're looking for. The difficulty is getting the consistency. That looks about right, and so does, that's a bit thinner. Yeah, they're about the same, I would think. Yeah, the thickness is variable, but I think I can produce some serviceable cross sections for this particular section here. So what the first thing we're going to do is, and I've never ever done this before, so it's going to be completely new for all of us. Put my little drill down there for a minute. I'm going to draw in the magnifier, because I'm going to look over the top of the camera at this, and hopefully you'll be able to see this. So let's just see if we can zero in a little bit on this. So it's all going to be here, as they say, warts and all that. So I'm going to try and make a little hole there. Oh no, that's not quite gone how I wanted it to. The thing about these little drills is, there we go, I think we're in the right sort of place. They tend to grip and create a thread of their own, unless you're using them at above 1000 RPM, in which case they don't. So that has begun to produce a little a little hole for me, because this just gives an anchor point for this stretch sprue that I'm going to use. Hopefully that will be all right. I'm going to do the same on this side as well. I can see these need filling here, so I'm going to have to go and do that at some stage. That's not quite central, is it? See, I'm just making tiny little quarter turns to get to a position where I have a little, oh, there we go. I have a little dint there that I can put a piece of stretched sprue into. I know some of you experts out there are saying, now look here Zinners, this isn't in the right place. I think it is, but if you're an expert, and there are many of you out there, then you let me know, eh? And I'll shout you out on the next video to tell you what a numpty I am and how good you are, because, well, frankly, you deserve it. If you knew where these things went and you told me and you made my life easier, then, as I say, you deserve it. So this one, I'm going to go into the top there and try not to skewer myself with the oh, that's not quite straight. It would help thinking about this, and maybe I can do it better the next time, to make a little flat on this, because it's tell you what, let's just do that. This plastic's actually really very good to work with because it's quite soft. So let's see if we can now make a little, there you are. See, we've made a flat there, and that makes it an awful lot easier, doesn't it? Now I'm sure that you can see that actually trying to do this with the wing on the top would be exceedingly difficult. So the last one is here. And I'm going to now I don't know which way to put that. I think I'm going to put that one in there because it's at least consistent at that stage. So what we'll do is we'll just there we go. Much concentration required there. Oh, I want to be very careful with that. Just bear on that in that way. So I'm only making little tiny turns here. Okay, so we've got some starter holes. So we'll just move that away a minute. It gives us a bit of extra light now. So what I can then do is I'm going to use, somebody remind me which ones I said I was going to use. I think it was these ones, wasn't it? Tell you what, let's move away the ones that we're not going to use. Those are all pretty consistently thick. Oh, hello. They're all pretty consistently thick. A term used to describe me from time to time, but there we are. So let's put that out of the way a minute. Back in its little drill box. I'm going to use one of these, and then we can do a rough measure up. And then, yeah, we can do this quite easily. That's a bit too thick there. Sorry, I'm off camera here, aren't I? Let's zero out. There we go, that's probably going to make it easier. Now I hope you're going to be able to see some of this. I'll zero in as much as I can on this. So I'm looking for a length of approximately that. I'm going to make it over length because then I know, oh, look at what I've done there. I've just broken that piece there. That's not clever. Hopefully that's going to be, no, there you are. That section there, that's the right length, and the other bit is not. So I have to try and make a comparison now between these two sections to make sure they're of consistent diameter, which of course they're not. So I'm going to have to use these sections now. So let's use that as a template. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this waist section and use it as a template to get the length that I want for these tensioning wires. So that's one of them. And I'll use this one to get the same length. There we go. I'll put that away. So I've got these two sections now. So what we'll do is we'll put those carefully down there, away from, I'm going to zero out again so you can see. So here are my two sections here. I'm going to use extra thin quick setting. I haven't got very much left in here, so that's probably a bit of a boon, to be honest with you, if I'm absolutely truthful. So what we're going to do is I'm going to attempt to glue this in the right position onto that hole that I've made there, and hopefully what we can then do is extra thin quick setting will set quickly, but not that quickly. Right, so there's glue on. There we go. And as you can see, now what I need to do is, I'm going to leave that for just a second, but you can see if I zero in, I need to cut off a small section. It's going to be very obvious for a lot of you. I need to cut off a small section at the bottom here and then allow this in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off this section here so it's slightly oversized. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I think that the action of the glue drying may allow this to stretch down, or allow it to stretch, because I think the glue will eat away some of the material, and therefore hopefully it comes through at the right size. So what we can then do, I'm going to bring the magnifier back in again and zero back in here, and there we go. So we can see that we're about there, and get my tweezers and drop that into my little section there where I need it. There we go. Now this is the theory. Let's hope that it turns out right. We never know, it might do. So I'm going to glue that in there. There's quite a lot of glue in that, but there we go. So that's the first one now placed. So we'll zero out again and then just drop that back down there. Got my other bit of, oh no, it's now fell on the floor. So I've got to find it. Ah, that's all right, I found it. Ah. Oh bugger, I'll just put the bloody thing down on the floor again. So there we are, and well, actually that's just cost me a bit of money, I think, somewhere. Bugger, there we are, 50p that is. So I've added another thing in, by the way, and I've never used it yet to this day. I probably won't either, but there we go. The swear box is alive and well, so just in case any of you were wondering. So what we'll do now, we'll do the same drill the other way round. Now this is quite a lot longer. I thought this was all square, so if this was all square, both lines would be the same width, but they're not. So with this one, what we'll do, I think I'll come in at the bottom here. So let's go for some magnification again, so I can see what I'm doing. Hopefully you can see this. I'm just going to see if I can make this more visible for you. There we go, we're right in over the top of this now. So I've just got to undo my glue pot lid. Ah, damn it. So I'm not quite there, am I? Oh, where's that gone? There it is. So what we're going to do with this one is I'm going to try and tweeze it into position, but at approximately the correct angle. Oh, hello. This is proving to be quite difficult then, isn't it? Let's try that again. So I'll try another method. I'm going to try and steady myself using this rear interplane strut, and then just hold that very gently there into the little area. I think what I'm doing is applying too much pressure on the end of this piece of stretch sprue. There we go. Oh no, that's not right at all. That's not happened. I think I'm not getting any glue on the blooming brush, which is not helpful. There we go. So just hold that there. So it should dry in just a few seconds. Yeah, oh, bugger. It's tensioned. It's beginning to dry. So I'm just going to hold that up there like that for a minute. So a little patience is required for this, as you can see. So I'll just wait for a second here. Just let that. I'm just going to hold that just for a while until I know it's going to be steady enough that it's not going to go any place. And if the area where the two lines cross over are touching, then you can glue there as well, and that will give you a bit of extra oh, right, there we go. No, it's not quite staying, is it? There we go. I think it should be okay there. Right, okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to pull the magnifier away and zero out and just return my camera to the angle it was at. See, this is beginning to dry now, which is good, but what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to be really quite careful with how I cut this. There we go. So it's not quite where it needs to be, is it? But it needs to be just a little bit shorter. Right, and draw that underneath there. See, there's no glue on that. I'm coming right to the end of this bottle, and so it's difficult to. Oh, hello. That's... There we go. Let's draw some glue on there. Hopefully then what we can do is that will eat away at the very thin line of stretched sprue that I have, and it should give us a crossover line. My theory was that it would stretch and allow me to then glue these two sections together here, which may yet still happen. So it's not quite. I can't quite see that, can you? So the thing about this, you do it once and then you'll be more experienced for the second one. But what you end up with is the tensioning wires between these two interplane struts, and they're thereabouts. That's not the best one, I don't think. I think I can do better than that. But there's a short video on using stretch sprue to put in interplane strut tensioning wires. Now you can do the same thing on the crossovers of these, and in fact actually if I've been very careful and haven't wasted any of it, I should have enough spare material. See, I can put a crossover line there using that, and in fact actually yes, I can use that one and this one. See, one is longer than the other, so this one's short and that one's long, so it's as well to be careful with that. So as we saw, this line here is long, that is short, but you know, that's a cheerful examination of geometry there, which you all knew, of course. So there we go. A little shall we call it a tutorial or a discovery? I think a discovery, I suspect, would be the best way of describing that. A little discovery on the use of stretch sprue to create tensioning wires. I will put all these in. It's going to take some time to do, but I will put all these in, and following the having done that, I shall prime these wings separately, and I won't put the wings on actually until I'm done with all of the painting. Reason being that I think it would be quite difficult to paint a camouflage signature on this with this over the top of it. That would make things quite tough. I want to be able to address the airbrush directly down onto this, and that's going to make things much easier. So the Gladiator continues. I will finally say that I've been really impressed with this kit. It's really gone together remarkably well. It's very, very good. And you know, it deserves the appellation good kit, and so it has been. And I'm not doing much in the way of modification to it. I decided not to do an awful lot to the engine, if I'm absolutely honest with you. But you know, that is what it is, and for where it's going to go, I think there's absolutely no need. But I think there is a need to put these wires in. I think they will just set the whole aircraft off, you know, wonderfully. I think it'll look really good. So there we are. And just as I'm looking at this now, those two interplane wires there now look straight, and I think my theory on this drying and shortening the piece of stretched sprue seems to have worked out. So there we go. I think, you know, if you put a wing on top of that and put them in there like that, actually that looks bloody good, I have to say. So there we go. There's another little episode for you on the Gladiator. Hope that was interesting, and look forward to seeing you on the next one. So thanks very much everyone. Take care for now. Bye.